Entrepreneur's Enigma is a podcast for the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. It's got the wins and the fails that we all face being entrepreneurs, and how we learn from adversity. Every week I talk to a different entrepreneur with a story to tell. I'm Seth Goldstein. Come with me on the journey. This is Entrepreneur's Enigma. Let's get started. Hey everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Entrepreneur's Enigma podcast. I'm, as always, Seth Goldstein, your host extraordinaire. I might be pushing it, but whatever. Today, I am honored to have Marcus Sheridan. He is a keynote speaker. He is a business saver. He is a marketing and sales revolutionary. Revolutionary, I think that's the word. I don't know. We'll go with that. He is a great guy. He's an author. He's done so much stuff in his time, but a lot of people know Marcus because he saved his pool company back in the financial crisis of 2008 when he focused on answering people's questions. Imagine that. Not sell, but ask questions and answer questions. So I'm going to bring Marcus on right now, and we're going to have him fill us all in on his journey. How's it going, Marcus?
Seth, it's great to see you. We're going to have a great conversation today.
This is fun. And also, Marcus, at the time of this recording, just got back from the UK. So be nice to him. He might be a little jet lagged.
7 weeks in the UK, and I'm ready to go.
7 weeks?
Man. Yeah. First thing I did this morning was make some crispy bacon, because daggone it, ain't enough of it in the UK, let me tell you.
Oh, my God, yeah. They don't know bacon. Bacon's a U.S. thing. And the Canadian bacon doesn't cut it. I'm sorry.
No, that's ham. Canada. That's ham, folks. That's ham.
It is ham. It's like sliced thin ham.
Yes.
So what were you doing over in the UK? That's exciting.
Well, I was speaking at a big entrepreneurs conference, right? And it was great, like 1,200 of them. What was cool, really, though, Seth, is this group. They're called Action Coach, and so that's a big coaching organization throughout the world. But they've got a really big group in the UK, and they've heard me before, and so many of them have started applying the Ask You Answer and some other teachings. Yeah. And
that's good. They listen to you.
Oh man, I'm telling you what, they're doers of the word, and they are just really running with it. Just the amount of people coming up to me and saying, "Hey, Marcus, the way they Ask You Answer is changing my business, the way it's impacting me." I'm really excited about it. It was just a great week. I feel good.
And then, but you said you did 7 weeks over there.
7 days.
7 days. Okay, 7 days. I'm like 7 weeks. Then you must be really jet lagged if you're not. 7 days is a little bit better. Well, maybe not as jet lagged as 7 weeks. I heard 7 weeks for some reason. Oh, whatever. So Marcus, I'm in the process of reading your book. And we met way back. I think it was at the AWeber Ascend conference.
That was a long time. That was a long time ago, Seth. That was some serious OG days right there.
I know that was like you had literally just started making a name for yourself.
Yeah.
Because
very much
literally 2008 was like probably the dark days for a lot of us. I mean, I started my business in 2008. Go figure. Who does that? I do.
Yeah.
But the thing is, those who survived 2008.
Oh man.
They come out stronger and hungrier and scrappier.
100%.
Yeah. And then we met at the conference. I think it was you, Ann Handley, maybe Jay Bear, but it was a nice little intimate group at Liberty Place. I don't know why I remember this conference so well, because I've been to a lot since, but I remember this. I remember meeting you. I remember your story, which we'll get into, of how you saved your little pool company, and from the back of your pickup truck, which is I think it's the coolest thing. Like literally boots on the freaking ground. So how did that go? How did you get started? I mean, I know in the book you say you were not looking to be an entrepreneur. You were looking for the 9-to-5 working, and then you fell into pools.
I don't think I really knew what I wanted to be. Yeah. I mean, I was young. I was out of college, basically. I was trying to figure out where I was going to work. My two buddies had just started a pool company. They said, "Hey, you can work here with us, and you can do be in this little retail store that we have selling hot tubs and above ground pools until, and we're going to install pools out in the field." And I said, "Fine, I'll do that until I figure out what I'm going to do with my life." And then 6 months later, they said, "Hey, do you want to be a business partner?" So I came on as a partner, and then didn't really know what entrepreneurship was. I
Mm-hmm.
don't even think I knew what the word meant. I know for a fact I was. It wasn't until my 30s where I knew the word, what the acronym B2B or B2C meant.
Oh
I mean,
boy.
I was like, I had one of the most traffic stinking websites in the world by the time I knew what B2B even meant. That's why when people say, "Oh, well, tell us the difference between B2B and B2C," I was like, this is the dumbest conversation. I get so tired of these conversations.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Oh, it's just nuts to me. Yeah, so that's where we were, 2008. We started in 2001, grew the business. We're
Mm-hmm.
fighting to, like everybody, to stay alive. 2008 comes along and just punches everybody in the face. And in fact, for the pool
Multiple
industry,
times.
oh, just multiple times. And for the swimming pool industry, it was brutal. I mean, there's folks going out of business left and right. And I thought we were going to go out of business. And that's when I really started to just think about how my own behavior online had changed, Seth,
Mm-hmm.
and how I had become so you know, just the way I was buying things. I was vetting companies and I was researching. I was asking
The iPhone was
questions. And
out. The iPhone was out.
yeah,
It just caught the year
yeah,
before. Yeah.
yeah. So, I think I don't have a lot of strengths, but one of them is self awareness. And so I
Mm-hmm.
was able to see, this is what I'm doing. I know this is what my customers are doing. So then I started to read, and the main site that I stumbled across was HubSpot's inbound site, right? And inbound marketing and content marketing. And so, I read all this stuff, and what I saw, or essentially interpreted in my simple pool guy mind, was, Marcus, if you just obsess over your customers' questions, worries,
Mm-hmm.
fears, issues, concerns, and you address them on your website through text, through video, you might
Yeah.
save your business. And so that's what I did. That was They Ask You Answer, and we became the most trafficked swimming pool website in the world.
Seriously, and people like that you couldn't even service because they were like out. I mean, they were literally like not anywhere near you. The traffic,
Yeah,
they,
it forced us to
yeah,
grow. It was really cool. I started getting leads, 2 hours away, 3 hours away, 6 hours away, 12 hours away. I mean,
for a
I was getting
pool.
I was getting leads in other countries, man. I remember one time this
Did
person.
you ever do a pool install in another country?
Well, no, no, no. But we ended up becoming a manufacturer,
Ooh,
and we became the fastest. By 2018, 2019, we were manufacturing our own pools because we were getting so many leads from all over the
yeah,
country that we couldn't really service. So we said, let's monetize this. So we became
yeah.
manufacturer, became the first franchise of fiberglass pools in the U.S. So that's why there's river pools of probably a big town near you,
That's
and there's
awesome. Yeah,
there's river pools popping up everywhere, and it's all because of this simple philosophy of obsess over your customers' questions, worries, fears,
mm-hmm.
issues, concerns. Be willing to address them honestly, transparently on your website through text, video,
Yeah.
etc. It's really, really obvious, Seth, but it's like what they say about the
Seems
obvious things.
obvious.
People don't
Seems
do them,
obvious.
right? They
Yeah,
they just don't do
they
them.
don't. I mean, when I'm a web designer, and I always say you need a frequently asked questions page. You need, and they're like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "How have you not like what?" It's the
Yeah.
simplest page, and it's also one of the biggest ones for SEO. That Google loves frequently asked questions pages because guess what? They get to rip it off. But
Yeah.
they still give you a little link back. But if you answer questions, people are gonna like you.
Well, and this goes back to, though, a lack of self-awareness,
Mm-hmm.
because if you're really observant how you have evolved as a buyer, then you're quickly going to say, well, of course we need to do that. And I just didn't overinterpret it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so many companies sit back and say, yeah, yeah, but we're different. Our situation's different. I never thought like that. I'm like, my buyers are like everybody else. They have a psychological need to feel safe. They want to trust whoever they're dealing with. They're going to vet us. And if they
Mm-hmm.
feel those emotions, then they're probably going to reach out. Plain and
Yeah.
simple. So let's not make it more of a science than what it is. And so, that's what we did. We've seen that over and over again now with companies around the world, because, They Ask You Answer, the book came out in 2017. It's done
Yeah.
so well. I mean, it's done over 1,000 copies, translated in multiple languages. And the thing about it is, now I've seen so many industries do this and do this well,
Yeah.
Seth. So I don't see exceptions to this. I mean, if I go to any business and I say, is trust fundamental to your business model? They say
Mm-hmm.
yes. If I say, is it going to be fundamental in 20 years? They say yes. So if you can build a business around how can we become the most trusted voice in our space? Because
Yeah.
that's the one thing we all have in common, Seth. Regardless of what we sell, that's the one thing. B2B, B2C, product, service, local, national, mom, pop, doesn't matter. Trust is fundamental to our business. Even when somebody says, yeah, but we're an RFP organ, like
I hate the
everything's
yes
done by
or
an
no
RFP.
buts. I hate
Yeah.
those.
It's like, yeah, but is trust fundamental to your business.
Yeah.
So if you can build your business around trust, you're built to last. You really are. You're built to
I
last.
love
And it
that.
doesn't matter what comes your way, what's next, whether it's AI, this, or such and such platform that, you're going to be prepared for what's next.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's incredible. Um, so Marcus, now that you know what the word entrepreneur means, now you know what B2B and
Yeah,
B2C
right,
means,
right.
what in your mind has been the best thing about being an entrepreneur? I mean, because you have 4 kids
Yeah,
and you like to go fishing, you like to hang out with your high school sweetheart who's your wife. I've done my
yeah,
research.
yeah.
And what's the best thing about being an entrepreneur? I'm not trying to lead the question, but I think I know what the answer
There's
is.
there. I think there's a bunch for me.
Yeah,
I gotta mention more than one here.
go for it.
So what's been most fun is designing my life.
Hmm.
I have traveled all over the world, and I've taken my kids with me,
Oh, that's
and it's
fantastic.
been absolutely unforgettable. It's been stunning. I spoke in the UK and then in Venice a couple months back to back, and I took my wife and my two youngest kids. They'll never forget that, man. I mean, that
No,
they'll always
yeah.
have that. So the ability to do that is just exceptional. Also, I think there's just something so glorious and motivating about knowing nothing's guaranteed with your
Hmm.
job. I don't want security. I really don't.
Yeah.
I find security is outrageously boring,
Hmm.
and it's
It
not
doesn't
very
exist anymore
invigorating.
either.
You're well, that's a very good point, Seth.
Yeah.
All right, the people that thought they had security, they quickly realize, oh gosh, geez, maybe it's not so great working for these Silicon Valley companies because, oh, they cut jobs too. They're just like everybody else. They actually have to turn a profit, right?
Hmm.
Hello, they got to
Imagine
turn a
that.
profit, right?
Imagine that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, shocking. So think about it is there's just something so glorious about designing your life and being driven to get out of bed every day and knowing that you're the one that's putting the food on your table. I love that. It's invigorating for the soul. I believe one of the biggest reasons for let's call it depression and for sadness and for
Hmm.
these other issues that you see in the world is because oftentimes we lack what I would call a worthy cause in our life, a worthy
Yeah.
cause. And I believe everybody needs a worthy cause. When my kids have come to me in the past, and I've got uh, my oldest is 22, then I have 19, I've got 16, I've got a 13-year-old. I also have a grandson now.
Oh, Mazel
He's
Tov.
he's almost 2. So it's amazing, right? And
Yeah.
whenever they've been down in the past, my kids, I always say the same thing. What's your worthy cause right now? And what's
Hmm.
interesting is at first they would say, "Oh, gee, I don't have a worthy cause." And now today, when I go to them, they'll come to me and say, "Dad, I need a worthy cause." Before I
Hmm.
have to ask. They recognize that they're in a bad state, right? Just they're restless, something's wrong. It's
But
always the same
self-aware.
thing.
But they're self-aware
That's right.
like their
That's right. Because
dad.
we talk about it all the time, right? And you got
Hmm.
to have a worthy cause. So I might help them find that worthy cause, but we're going to find a worthy cause because the moment we don't have worth, that's why when people say to me, "Is like, when do you think you're going to retire?" I'm like, I've never like, why would I even think about retirement? Retirement sounds like ridiculous to me because I'm as an entrepreneur. To your point, I'm living my best life right
Yeah.
now because I'm taking my family with me. I feel like I'm living the retirement life while I'm still
You're getting
able to
paid to
be
be
vigorous.
retired.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right. I get paid to go on vacations. I just happen to speak for an hour while I'm on stage, right?
Yeah.
It's just absolutely amazing. But it all happened with this simple philosophy,
Yeah.
this framework of answer your customers' questions, be honest, be transparent, better than anybody else in your space.
I love it. I love it. So, all right. So, on the flip side, what keeps you up at night? Especially being an
Well,
entrepreneur.
so I think there's like long-term things and there's
Yeah.
short-term things. Long-term thing that keeps me up at night um, is where it's all headed.
Hmm.
So my brain naturally looks at stuff and it sees patterns. Um, that's why if you read They Ask You Answer, you'll see things like there's the big five of They Ask You Answer, the 5 subjects that generate the most traffic leads and sales. for pretty much every organization in the world. And Seth, as an SEO guy, I
Yeah.
talk about those in the book, costs, problems, comparisons, reviews, best. I was talking
Yeah.
about that before Google was talking about it.
I love it.
I've been talking about that for a dozen stinking years because the pattern was really clear to me. I was looking at my
Yeah.
analytics. I'm like, oh, there's these 5 subjects that's pop more than anything else. Like this
Yeah.
is what buyers want to know. This is what search wants to know. This is like, these are the big 5.
Yeah.
And so patterns are my thing. So I'm looking at all the different patterns all the time. And sometimes it's a little bit of a curse too. One of the things that's a struggle for me right now is I'm, AI is people want to roll their eyes already at AI, and if they're rolling their eyes, it's because they have no freaking clue as to how much it's going to impact their life. Good, bad, ugly, all the stuff. It's going to affect all of us. I'm not one of these people that bloviates and makes wild predictions. There's been many times when I said, that's dumb. I looked at Clubhouse. I said, that's dumb. That's not going to last. People are like, no, you should try it. I'm like, I'm not going to do it because it ain't going to last. I can already see that it's not going to last. So I can go build a brand, sure, on Clubhouse, but every second is wasted that I could have spent building a brand on a platform that's built to last. So I made a lot of predictions, way more true than false. AI is a huge, huge deal, but I can't keep up with it. That's my biggest problem right now. My biggest concern right now, Seth, is I'll study AI for an hour a day, excuse me, and I feel like I'm falling behind still 2 to 3 hours worth of study.
Oh, it's almost as bad as keeping up with Google's algorithm changes.
Yeah. Well, I would say it's actually much worse than Google's algorithm changes. I mean, because to a degree, you can boil down Google's algorithm to a degree from the beginning. They want to give the best, most specific, relevant answer to your query since the beginning. That's what they want to do. Now, how has it evolved? Yes. But as a whole, that's been their obsession. Other than ruling the world and making money, that's been their obsession.
And being evil.
That's right. Is I want to give the best, most specific, relevant answer to the question, right? Now, AI, the use cases are so stunning that it's impossible for anybody to keep up with it. That being said, we're teaching it to our clients what we know, but what we know is 1% of what it is, and I'm okay admitting that 1%. If you're using AI at a 1% level right now, oh gosh, it's just amazing what you can do with it with your business. That's keeping me up. That keeps me up. Also, as an entrepreneur, side note, this is just a total side throwaway. The IRS keeps me up at night because they're a joke. And if you're an entrepreneur and you actually own a business, and trying to understand the tax code is like reading some language from another planet.
It's worse than Klingon.
Oh no, it's way worse than Klingon, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the
quote. IRS is way worse than Klingon.
Yeah, it's way worse. That's such a broken system. We could spend hours on that. But anybody that's been in business, like if you're in business and you don't have problems with the tax code, and I'm not talking about paying your fair share. I'm not even focused on it. It's just too confusing. I am a type of person that just prides myself on speaking in a way, communicating in a way that is easily understood by the masses. And I think it's such an underrated skill. Seth, somebody once told me it's dumb not to dumb it down. And what a powerful thing that is. What a powerful recommendation that is. That's the reason why if you're listening to somebody on a podcast or watching that person on a video, there's reasons why you immediately dislike somebody and reasons why you quickly like somebody or relate to them. You dislike somebody quickly, or you say, I don't know, I don't like that guy. The reason why you say that is because that person puts off this feeling of I'm smarter than you. And so when you try to not prove yourself in front of an audience, when you're just trying to have communion with the audience, right? Not trying to impress, just talk openly, just about what life has taught you, just like we're doing right now.
Exactly.
Now all of a sudden, you just establish trust that wasn't there. So yeah, it's dumb not to dumb it down. And I think there's beauty in that for any marketer, for any salesperson, for any business.
Tax code.
Freaking any tax code.
Seriously, some countries, I think Norway or some Scandinavian country, they give you a postcard and say, you owe us this. You write a check, you send it in.
What it should be.
I forget the deductions. Say I owe this, or you're going to give me back this, or whatever.
That's what it should be.
That's it. It should not be this hard. And it's like you said, This could be a whole
Yeah,
CPA.
the best part is they're not going to tell you what you owe, but they will tell you if you were wrong. Now that's glorious.
Actually,
That's
even better is
amazing.
when you start a business. The fastest thing you can get from the IRS is your EIN number. You know why? Because that's how you can pay them. Anything else you have to wait on. But literally, it's the quickest thing to get an EIN number. You could think of a new business EIN number. It populates on the screen. You print it up, and there's your business. If you get any money from them, forget about it. But that's a whole nother ball game. So, what is the most important thing to carry with you all the time?
Well, is this tangible or
It can be whatever you want.
non-tangible?
It can be whatever you want. You can go as deep as you want.
I think the most important thing that I would carry is my discipline and my values, which are pretty much aligned together, because let me just give you an example of discipline and values for me. I had lots of rules, and I believe in rules because I'm flawed. If I don't set rules for myself, then I'll screw up. So example of rules that I have when I travel, lots of rules. One rule: as soon as I get to hotel, I immediately grab workout clothes first thing. That's first thing, okay? And I work out first thing. No matter where I go, first thing I do. Also, second rule of hotels: I never turn the TV on. Not allowed. Not allowed. Never ever turn the TV on. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. And somebody could say, well, you can just use your phone. I know I can use my phone, but I'm not.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to turn on my TV no matter what. So that's an example of two things. Another simple rule that I have when I travel: I never take the escalator, ever. So the only thing I do is, unless I have my bags I have yet to check in, like big suitcases, then I might take an escalator at that point. But as soon as I've dropped off my big bags, my check-ins, I will literally, I've always got two bags, a big briefcase on wheels with my laptops and all this stuff, and then a duffel bag. That's usually what I take with me. I have two bags, okay, and I roll them around. What I do is I separate them at the base of the stair, and I walk up the stair. I can tell you
yourself out, yeah.
I can tell you which airports have the highest stairs in the country. Most people can't tell you that because I have a rule. I haven't taken the stairs in an airport in something like 3 years. Excuse me, I haven't taken the escalator in 3 years because it's a simple discipline. I tell myself, if I can just do this little thing right now, it'll permeate different facets of my life. So it's the little disciplines that lead to the greater disciplines.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love that. So Marcus, you have a bunch of businesses. You got the river pools and spas. You got your impact sales and marketing, which was Sales Lion until you merged and all that stuff. You got your keynote speaking, which is your name, because you're keynoting, you're gay Marcus. So it makes kind of logical sense. And then you mentioned before the show you have something in North Carolina.
Well, I have a huge passion, just like a major passion for fishing.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that I do all the time.
Okay. Yeah.
My camera button here is just like suddenly
camera button went boop boop.
There it goes.
And he's back. Oh, he's almost back. He's almost back.
Are you working, Kim?
God, love live.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I edited this together, and
I got it now. Here we go. What in the world? Oh, this is so interesting. What's happening is there's a competition between like things that like in my I've got too many dongles plugged into my
I love it. First world problem.
To my stinking thing here, and that's what's going on. It's not picking up on it. All right. Well, then we're just gonna have to use regular.
We can just do audio. Everyone knows how good looking you are, so it's fine.
No, we'll fix this. We'll just do regular camera. Let's do regular camera now. Sorry about that.
There you go. So you love fishing.
Yeah, I've got an offshore fishing company in North Carolina, and it's called Speechless Sport Fishing, like the name, because that's what I give full time is speeches.
Yeah.
And it's just I wanted something. Somebody once I heard somebody interview once say, I've designed my life to have a new career every 10 years.
Love that. Yeah.
So I said, man, that sounds really, really fascinating. Could I have a new career every 10 years? And so
So
from
I
ages
think you
20,
also get rid of some old careers. You seem to collect them.
yeah, I collect. So from 25 to 35, I built my swimming pool company, and just like took that off and just did a bunch of really, really cool things with it. And obviously that was amazing. That was from 25 to 35. And I still have the pool company, but
Yeah.
I sold part of it, and I have the original company, the original franchise now. And then from 35 to 45, mainly it was all about speaking, building my speaking brand and career, and building my agency. So I built those essentially at the same time. From 45 to 55, I plan on building a what's called Saltwater Fishing University on YouTube, and my brand, which is Speechless Sport Fishing. And that's just another passion that I have. Why
Yeah.
not?
Why not?
And I'm like, I'm going to spend a ton of money on fuel, so I might as well have it as a write-off.
Yeah.
And I could turn this into something really special, because I've never had to build a really big community online before with YouTube. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to try it. I want to be
Why
a
not? Yeah.
creator for YouTube, and I want to see what it's like. I'm going to throw myself into it. So
Love it.
I'm in month 16, 17 right now. I'm having a blast.
And that's the key. As long as you're having fun, keep going. When you're not having fun, find something else to do.
Absolutely. I'm having a great time. But there's a phrase, Seth, I think is important for everybody to remember, because in 2009, 2008, 2009, when we're struggling, I'm struggling financially big time. And I was really I thought we were going to lose it all.
Yeah.
I never made more than $100,000 in a year in 2009. And by 2020, so 10 and a half years later, not only had we done all these things, I'd become a speaker and had the agency. We had built River Pools. I had sold a part of River Pools. And so it just had this great exit from a business. And the phrase that I wanted to share it goes like this: we often overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 10. It's very,
So
very
true. Yeah.
true. It's
So
very
true.
true. And so if you say, well, by the end of this year, I want to be, I'm going to be making $250,000 a year. Well, that's probably not going to happen. But if you said, okay, I got this vision, this 10-year vision, and you don't expect it overnight. One of the problems that I think we have right now, certainly in our culture, is we just want overnight success, right? We just want it now.
Or because we see it, it's overnight
Yeah,
success.
it's what
It's usually 10
what we
years in the
see.
making. It's overnight
That's
success,
exactly right.
10 years in the making. Yeah.
That's exactly right. I kicked the can around for almost 10 years of river pools before we started to see any traction, before I made any money.
Yeah. And then that spurred more stuff. And then people are starting to see, oh, Marcus is becoming a household name. Oh my God, the freaking ass pages, kaboom, whoa, that's something we need to do. That kind of,
Right.
It still blows my mind as a
It's
web
hilarious,
designer.
isn't it? Yeah, it's totally hilarious.
It's crazy. So anyhow, everyone go to marcussheridan.com. If you're in the market for a good speaker, someone who can talk about freaking last questions pages and why they're important to have, and much more, hire Marcus. And thank you so much, Marcus. This has been such a joy to reconnect after almost a decade. I think you were just starting your speaking career.
That's right.
And
in internet years, that's about 70 years we haven't seen each other, Seth. So it's that's what's happened in the world. Yeah. That's what's happened in the world. It feels like 70 years worth of stuff is happening. But you're doing great work, and it's a pleasure for me to to be with you after these years, and so I really commend what you've done as well.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and we'll see everyone next week. Actually, not, we'll start over. We'll see everyone next time, because it's twice weekly. That was a great show. If you're enjoying Entrepreneur's Enigma, please review us in the podcast directory of your choice. Every review helps other podcast listeners find our show. If you're looking for other podcasts in the marketing space, look no further than the Marketing Podcast Network at marketingpodcasts.net. Goldstein Media hopes you have enjoyed this episode. This podcast is one of the many great shows on the MPN Marketing Podcast Network.